Today we're making Batangas style Lomi from the Philippines. Hi everyone! Today we're making one of my favorite noodle dish called Lomi. Here are the ingredients we're going to need for our dish. We're going to need 1 pack of Lomi noodles. If you don't have that, you can use Miki noodles also. 1 whole garlic. We're just going to cut that in half because we're just going to use that as a flavoring agent for our broth. 1 whole onion minced. About 2 tablespoons of fish sauce, 6 cups of water, 1 small carrot cut into strips, 1 tablespoon of chicken powder, 1 pack of fish ball, 1 pack of cuttlefish balls, half a cup of soy sauce, about 1 cup's worth of Napa cabbage, roughly chopped, 2 pieces of eggs, and we're going to make a slurry using about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch along with 2 tablespoons of water. You can always add in more depending on how thick you want your soup to be. And we're going to garnish with green onions. For toppings, we're going to be using a hard-boiled egg, pork belly strips, and pork liver strips. The pork belly, we're going to be frying them until it's nice and crispy, kind of like a chicharron. So here are the complete list of our ingredients. First thing we're going to do is we're going to be boiling our pork belly in water. So here we have about 6 cups of water boiling. Now we're gonna add in the pork belly so we can get a little broth or however little broth we can out of these pork. As you notice, we are using 90% fat because we're gonna be making chicharron out of it later. So with our pork added in, next thing we're gonna do is add in our garlic cut in half. Then add in our peppercorns and a little salt. I know we're not going to get much pork flavor on this set of pork, so what I'm going to do is later we're going to be adding in some chicken powder to enhance that broth. As you notice, I'll be using chicken instead of pork because I want it mild, not too strong like a pork flavor. So we're going to lower our heat and let it cook for about 10 to 20 minutes until our pork is fully cooked. Also, while you're doing this, make sure to remove all the scums on the top of the broth. Let's check on our pork. So this should be done. You don't need to cook it like forever. We're just trying to get some broth out of it. So what we're going to do is remove the pork, set it on a plate, and then we're going to run our broth through a strainer to eliminate the rest of the ingredients from the broth. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to be slicing our pork belly into strips. But before that, I just want to show you what I did with the fish balls. So the fish balls, any type of meatballs you're using, I just cut them in half pretty much. So you can use fish balls, squid balls, shrimp balls, any kind of Asian seafood balls. Also for the liver, I just cut them also into strips. We're going to be using them as a topping along with the pork belly. For those of you that doesn't like liver, you can always not add that into the dish, but I think it creates a nice body to the broth when you add this in as a topping at the end. So anyways, what we're going to do now is we're going to cut our pork belly into strips. Nothing special, pretty much just like that. Not too thin, not too thick. So we're going to do that for the rest of our pork belly. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to be rendering this until the fat is gone. Well, not much gone, but I mean it's fully rendered down like a chicharron. So it's going to be a nice crispy topping at the end of on top of our noodle dish. And just like that, it's done. Now we're going to be rendering our pork fat. So we have our little pot here over medium heat. Now we're going to add in our pork belly without any fat. So what you're trying to do here is you want that fat from the pork to kind of melt away and turn into oil. That's what you call rendering down the fat. So when we're done with rendering the fat, you're going to see there's going to be a ton of oil on this pot. Also be careful when you're doing this because there's going to be a lot of splattering going on here with all that fat. So just keep your distance and be careful. As you can see, it's coming along nicely. It's turning brown. And you can see all that oil coming out of the pork fat. At this point, try to lower it to medium-low so that we don't burn the pork. Because we still want to render as far down as we can. If you don't lower the heat, it's going to end up burning. Alright, so these are nice and done. You can go crunchier if you want, but I like it, I don't want it too crunchy. I still want that nice soft texture in the inner part of the fat. So this is good. We're gonna pull them out. And as you pull them out, season with just a pinch of salt to give it some flavor. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna be frying the liver in that pork fat. So for those who don't know, number one rule when cooking with pork liver, do not overcook it. This can get very hard. When you see it starts to change color, flip them over to cook the other side. So just like that, this is done also. Alright, now we'll set it aside. Now we're going to start making our dish. Okay, in a large pot or a wok, we're going to be combining everything together. So first, I'm going to use some of the fat that we got from the pork as oil to saute our onion. So now we're going to be adding in our onion and we're going to saute them until nice and soft. Once our onion is soft, we can add in our carrots. Then we're going to add in the broth that we got out of the pork. We're also going to be adding in our half a cup of soy sauce. And our 2 tablespoons of fish sauce. Give it a stir. Once everything is boiling, we're going to be adding in our noodles. Alright, now we can add in our noodles. Make sure to break apart that noodle also as it gets soft. There you go, we've separated the noodles. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to be adding in the fish balls. Alright, now this is a perfect time to taste it. I'm sure it's still gonna be very light on flavor since we barely have enough pork to season that broth. It's not bad, but I mean, I would put in a little chicken powder to give it that nice body. Give it a stir. Also, keep in mind you don't want this strong. It has mild flavor, so just go easy on the seasoning. Give it one more taste. That is actually very good. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add in our cornstarch to thicken the broth. Traditionally, they use cassava flour for this, but we don't have those where I live, so I'm just gonna use cornstarch instead. Also, the cornstarch will vary on how thick you want your soup to be. So let's add just that for now. Give it a nice stir. Still a little runny, we're gonna add a little more. That's how thick you want it. Almost like a gravy, but not that thick. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add in our Napa cabbage. You don't have to add all these, but I mean, I only have a small one, so I might as well put the whole thing in there. Give it a nice toss. And at this time, we're pretty much done. We're just gonna add in our egg, our beaten egg. Make sure to stir that around well. Then we're gonna finish it up with some green onion. We're gonna save some for our garnish later. Turn off the heat. This dish is done. Okay, now let's plate our dish. So let's have a nice scoop of all that yummy noodles. Then we're gonna add in our topping. So we have our egg here already garnished. We're gonna add in our pork belly or our chicharron. And then we're gonna add in our pork liver. And we can garnish with some green onions. So here's our finished dish, Lomi. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.